Greetings. Today we are exploring two active and energetic enthusiasts of the new who are not averse to risk and grand ideas, LIE and ILE. Thinking style, mental performance, and perspective. ILE shows interest in theoretical discussions. It is a very high dopamine type. They love complex intellectual analysis that delves into the essence and interconnections of phenomena. Their thinking is causal, sequentially deriving complex conclusions from simpler premises. Long, unidirectional chains. Deductive thinking like Sherlock Holmes. Thinking akin to IT, current neural networks, where everything must be considered, not skipped, everything structured, all domino pieces in place. They often get distracted by various small details that they notice in the course of any work, and live not only here and now, but are interested in the meaning of what is happening, the questions of where and why, the purpose and perspective of events. ILE tends to view all issues from a global perspective. LIE have one of the highest mental performance with good concentration, quick memory, and clarity of thought. Result-oriented thinking fast at a satisfactory quality level in a short time. Focused on the main task without getting sidetracked by minor details. LIE perceives and considers any situation as a whole, quickly identifying the main point. They have well-managed, fast, and flexible associative memory, alien to sudden breaks and sticking. In the matter they engaged in, they better than most at identifying important aspects, discarding irrelevant. Fast operational memory. Quickly make decisions and quickly process information. Synthesis. But unlike dialectics, where everything is still divided and struggles, here it merges. Through trial and error. And there's no need to study complex instructions, nor to construct complicated drawings. Just take and try and think as you go. Thinking in the most natural way. Nature connects things, and if it works, it survives. If not, it doesn't. An experimental, risk-taking mind that is not afraid to be the first to break new ground. Types with this thinking can especially thrive where there is no formalism. The essence of the market, cash flows, liquidity, these are vortex processes. The capitalist market economy at its core is about cash flows, which whirl around somewhere, and someone correctly redirects them or benefits from them. Chaotic market style of thinking. Goal setting, work rhythm, and actions. T is the most energetically concentrated function. Not everyone can withstand their intense work schedule. LIE is demanding, work very hard, and despise laziness. Any task they like is immediately put into practical action. They always on the move, engaging people, making them move and work, interested in technical novelties, and better than others, see the profitability or unprofitability, the prospects or lack thereof of any endeavors, and see the perspective of affairs in the future well. They constantly perceive time as the most important resource, specifically rationalizing and planning its use. Also know how to multitask and use every minute of time efficiently, focus on productivity and goal completion. If they become passionate about a goal, they remain committed to it for a long time. They try to focus on the future, attempting to actively influence it to align with their interests. They like to maintain productivity and adhere to a consistent pace with minimal breaks. They plan in advance, and often in thoughts, involuntarily weigh and estimate the efficiency of expenses and efforts, pondering how to optimize them. They often find it easy to motivate themselves and concentrate on accomplishing a task that is important to them. Any idea they have instantly turns into action, movement, and work. They don't need time for intermediate emotional arousal and buildup. ILE do not like to confine themselves to any plans or schedules. They are not very disciplined and prefer to decide what to do based on the situation without predetermining in advance. They have poor retention and scanning in the mind of all current plans and commitments, and usually don't adhere to the planned sequence of actions. They often find it difficult to continuously concentrate on a single thought. At the same time, ILE often get stuck in the process. They find it difficult to detach from a game they've started, hard to break away from ongoing pleasure, even though more important tasks await. They tend to have an erratic approach to time, often getting lost in activities or distractions, and show deep immersion in interests, especially abstract or theoretical ones, leading to prolonged engagement. Interest, risk-taking, and motivation. LIE is better than others at sensing and quickly grasping subtle nuances when comparing tasks by their profitability. For the sake of rewards, they are ready to take risks. They strive for practical activities and prefer close, concrete goals that bring real benefits. They would be more suited than most others for the role of a coordinator organizing the implementation of innovations. They often interested in finance, investment questions, in issues of money, product prices, and comparisons of earnings, and enjoy the atmosphere of intense competitive work. They emphasize the importance of financial calculation, profitability, and benefit. For ILE, satisfying curiosity is more important than meeting a real need. In their case, it is curiosity itself that is enough to take a risk. For them, it's difficult to engage in something for a long time if the task is unsuccessful and doesn't provide positive reinforcement. In such cases, they quickly switch to developing a new topic or idea until they lose interest again and are drawn back to the previous task. They easily take on challenging tasks and dedicate themselves to it with passion. But often, in the heat of enthusiasm and energy, they take on too much. They often feel inspired by the sensation of having made a sudden discovery for themselves, grasping a new, central, and very important thought. And these thoughts are constantly devoted to original ideas and mental discoveries. Researching anything, even something partially familiar, always fills them with joy and pleasant sensations. They would enjoy adventures, exploring new territories, wandering, expanding the horizon. Their calling is to make discoveries and inventions that revolutionize established notions. They are passionate about theories, aspire to theoretical contemplation, and prefer distant abstract goals that bring intellectual satisfaction. State of mind, environment, and adaptation. LIE never have prolonged periods of bad, gloomy depressive mood with indifferent apathy. It is almost always bright and optimistic, much like the nature of their advice. They believe in their ability to get out of any situation. They rarely react overly to minor irritants, as if everything in the world keeps them composed. They can often pay no attention to different audible sounds or inconveniences in general. They know how to not get bothered by various questions and problems and are very stress-resistant, can strengthen or weaken these or those desires and cravings if mind finds it useful and necessary for them at the particular moment. LIE is always ready to push beyond their comfort zone, embracing work even when it requires enduring fatigue and discomfort. They are not demanding in terms of everyday comfort and food, often having a lower drive for it. ILE are unstable in their mood, yet usually have a good one. They are more demanding of their environment, and once they try and like something, they don't refuse it. They usually have normal appetite. But their meal times, sleep, and wake-up schedules vary widely based on subtle mood shifts and the interest level of their current activities. They prefer flexible environments that encourage creativity and experimentation and thrive in roles that allow for independent thought and exploration of new ideas. The high dopamine and low serotonin profile characteristic of them is reflected, for instance, not only in greater irritability, but also in the abundance of dreams, which, on the contrary, is usually the least among their quasi-identity. Personal, societal, and cultural values. LIE, while interested in systemic efficiency and improvement, tend to be more grounded in reality, value social status, financial success, material wealth, and practical benefits. They can be quite irritated by people obsessed with universal justice and may prefer convenience over strict adherence to facts. Relations are more important for them. They focus on achieving tangible results and leveraging social and economic structures to their advancement. More pragmatic approach to life and decision-making processes, with strong preference for practical, actionable knowledge and a focus on immediate benefits. They often have many useful connections, good in networking, more conscious of hierarchical positions and power. ILE often go against the flow and public opinion in their words and actions if they want to, defending their ideas, in which they believe. They are not afraid to remain misunderstood. They can be fascinated by reforming concepts and often driven by internal values and the pursuit of truth, even at the expense of social norms or practicality, even if it makes living harder. Often, they lack sensitivity and delicacy in relationships with people. It's not easy for them to adapt to different groups, and often they display a strong aversion to control and external expectations. They are less concerned with social status, critical of societal norms, and values freedom and intellectual pursuits. Their focus is more on exploring ideas and potential rather than accumulating status or material wealth. They admire people who are deeply concerned with fairness and hold them in high regard, prefer connections based on intellectual compatibility and shared exploration of ideas, and look for ways to improve or rethink systems, and are less concerned with traditional measures of success. Keywords. First, LIE, movement. It's understood not as mobility in different directions alternately, but as purposeful movement towards a goal despite obstacles and disbelief from those around. LIE moves forward without having a goal with a predictable return. They try different approaches to discover new opportunities that will yield a good result in the future. Temporary failures do not stop them, and their optimism allows them to start over and over again. LIE is more willing to take risks, easier to move to another place, more promising, even if it is very far away. They are not afraid to experiment to find a successful niche. Risk. It is a bold and sharp action in which you can lose everything or gain a lot. Entrepreneurship is closely related to risk, and starting something new, you never know how it will end. LIE does not regret the effort for this. They, by the way, usually recovers very well. LIE is good in the role of an innovator pioneer, but they struggle with coordination and synchronization of different parts of their project. Nevertheless, they do not give up, and their nervous system withstands administrative failures because they are very stress-resistant. Success. Success is understood not only as an emotion, but more as getting a return from their risk. LIE is optimistic and positively minded. They start with positive thoughts about success. Fear at the start do not spoil their mood or stop them. They smile and joke, and this is their usual state at the beginning of new endeavors. And, chaos. It is not just scatter, but creating swirls, mixing parts of different environments. The acceleration and abrupt change of course by LIE lead to growing instability around them. It is difficult for the entrepreneur to create a sturdy structure on their own. They are not managers. They are too dynamic. People following them enter a turbulent flow as if they were behind an airplane, being tossed around without understanding what is happening. This is the effect of entrepreneurship. Too much acceleration, turbulent flows arise, and everyone starts to scatter. And people begin to perceive their actions as chaotic and uncoordinated. Some do not even want to get involved, feeling that at such speed, with such loads, they may fall behind or the quality of work will be poor. Now, ILE, curiosity. This is an attraction to everything unusual without a specific goal. It includes an element of scatter, a readiness to move in all directions. ILE, upon discovering something new, delves into it for a long time and even gets bogged down in it. They try to understand, to thoroughly master a new system. Search. This is a more serene action, associated with contemplation, maps of the terrain, penetrating into hard-to-reach and hidden places. ILE is characterized by searching for novelties and unusual discoveries in various fields. The more they learn, the more interest they have in further research. If a solution is found, their interest wanes, but their searches are very captivating, and they never stop. Invention. This could be either tricks to solve a current difficulty or the creation of a prototype device that is not known when it will be mass-produced. Dispersion. Periodically, ILE loses some items, then searches for them. They might use one item in place of another, combining such things that usually are not combined. Unexpected use of an item not for its intended purpose. To further distinguish between these types, we could highlight their leading functions more. Consequently, for LIE, we get what's called the accelerating subtype, focused specifically on investment logic. Wherever they appear, everything immediately starts to move. Money gets invested, and projects begin to develop, often many at once, creating immediate activity. This is because, wherever they go, their business logic activates, with investments being made and trips often to distant countries. The one who spins this the fastest will enrich themselves. Then, when law enforcement catches up, it's time to quickly change markets and move to an entirely different country. This type operates at such high speeds, the fastest of all. For ILE, it's the inventive subtype, intuition of prospects. Their task is to invent a solution to a major problem that troubles them and create a prototype. That means showing a model, or if it's their system, demonstrating that it works. Everyone should take note, as they are the first, the discoverer, the inventor. They are passionate about a very original, radical, revolutionary idea. Most interestingly, they take real steps to create a prototype of this mechanism or invention. There are many other varieties of these types, but I hope that by exploring their most noticeable differences and core images, you can now more clearly distinguish them. I hope this was helpful. See you soon.